I'm a health and life coach, and I help people to live, to speak, and to lead with confidence. Because you know what? I have a quote for you this morning, wherever you're watching me on Instagram or Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. Good morning to you. Do you know why confidence is that important? Because it says that, hey, Elsa, good morning to you. To succeed in life, you need two things: ignorance and self confidence. Like, I have no idea who wrote that quote. I pulled it off the internet. It made sense to me for two reasons. I love to say that I live life not getting the memo, not getting the memo of what you're supposed to be, and just doing what you think you're supposed to be anyway, not even what bothering what people think about you. That is not getting the memo, right? And so for you to be that way, you need the confidence, which is where I come in terms of my speaking programs, in terms of my coaching, my writing. I help you to live, to lead, and to speak with confidence, because it really does make a difference. This morning, we're actually starting a series on confidence, and I want to talk about making sure that you take up space. I read a lot for my personal development company that does the speaking, writing, and coaching. And one of the books that I have been reading recently is called How Women Rise. In fact, let me just put it in the chat here. You can go and get it wherever. I think Facebook will be able to access it, as well as YouTube is what it's looking like. And if you're on LinkedIn, I'll go in and put it in the comments after. But in this book, they talk about the fact that women love to minimize themselves, minimize their achievements. Even physically in a room, you find a woman, in many cases, not wanting to take up space. So I was thinking about it, and I realized that I actually have a poem about that, and it's called Gently Insist on Being Yourself. So if you will just allow me this morning to just refresh your mind, your morning, whatever time you're watching me. I know Elsa's perhaps watching from the UK, so it's 7 or 8 hours ahead from Edmonton. But I have this poem that I love to read at schools in particular. And I work a lot with like the ERGs, the Black Employee Associations, as well as in the schools, the Black Student Associations. And I love to always remind the students, this is for everybody this morning, actually. There is no need to minimize yourself. There is no need to fold yourself into a corner. So this poem is called Gently Insist on Being Yourself. Gently insist on being yourself. Do not settle for anyone else. The world is filled with lovers and haters. Do not let them be your dictators. Gently insist on being yourself. Do not fold you into corners. In the face of subtle irritation, be yourself with determination. Gently insist on being yourself relentlessly without apology. Speak your truth with full expectation of both displeasure and adulation. Gently insist on being yourself. Do not hide your soul away. This walk, this face, this laugh and loud is how you find you in the crowd. Gently insist on being yourself. Make sure you take up space. The more you show up consistently is the more you have the right to be. You're a gift to yourself with who you are, your full self, your bad self, your quiet self, and sassy self, pragmatic, pious, bubbly, bodacious, chatterbox, or loving, serious, funny, strong, gentle, crazy, logical, clinical, contrary. No words written to describe you, self. Come on, you're not too much. You are enough. That's my poem, and that's my encouragement for, especially for those people who life and people try to say that you are too much. Gently insist on being yourself. But it's also for those people who might be quiet and might be that kind of person who, doesn't want to do much, doesn't want to be out there. You continue being yourself as well. Stay in your lane. So let's go to our topic this morning on making sure, especially as a woman, you take up space. As I said, my reference book this morning, I'll be doing quite a lot of that because I read quite a lot. And I'm like, let me just share it with the people so that we can all get better, all of those good things. And it says that the name of the book is How Women Rise, Break the 12 Habits Holding You Back from Your Next Raise, Promotion, or Job. You can go find it on, yes, I share the poem in the chat later. Okay, I'll do that, Elsa. I'll share the poem. It's actually, is it on my, actually, the poem, I performed the poem a couple years ago, and that performance is on my YouTube channel, Lisa M. Dublin. So I have two YouTube channels. Would you do me a favor and go subscribe to them both? Thank you, Nige. Thank you so much for that. So I have a poetry channel, and all my poetry is on that channel dedicated to the poetry. It's called Lisa M. Dublin. If you go there, I'll put the link to that channel as well, so you can go subscribe. So when I get new work, I put it out there to remind us all to gently insist on being ourselves. So the chapter I wanted to focus on in the little time that I have, I'm trying to keep it to 15 minutes of inspiration that is going to last for the entire day. Do you guys like that tagline? What about that? Let's keep it as a tagline. So let me just go to my Kindle here and read a little bit. And so the writer, Sally, don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'll figure it out. Okay. But she says this. In general, women acknowledge others by minimizing the space they took up, even if it caused disruption. So she was talking about an experiment where when women and men were in a meeting, and as new people came in, entered the meeting, the women were the ones who made accommodations. They were the ones, as we say, they smalled up themselves, okay, to make space for other people. And so the writer and her researchers went on to try to see if that kind of accommodating attitude, hey, Shimalin, thank you, if that kind of attitude actually translated and was put into other places. And she found that it literally was. And so she went on to say this. Not only do others read you, if you are in the habit of making yourself smaller, putting yourself into boxes, apologizing for who you are, right? Here's what's going to happen. Not only do others read you as diminished, you begin to feel that way yourself. That's because your physical attempts to shrink send a message to your brain that you really should not be occupying your space, either physically or metaphorically. What you're literally saying to yourself is, you're not big enough, so you don't belong. Others are more deserving than you are. And that is how your brain interprets the actions. So, moving along, the writer also speaks about some of the ways that we diminish and minimize ourselves, especially as women. So I want you to think about your own self and think about whether you do any of those, and to literally make the effort and to decide that you're not going to. Like, I'll tell you what I decided after reading this. And I was like, oh no, we're going to stop that, Lisa. Okay. There are verbal discounters and disclaimers that women like to engage in. We want to begin our sentences in a meeting or our contributions with, maybe this isn't important. Oh my goodness, why? Maybe this isn't important. Or you may have already thought about this, but, or this may be beside the point, but I still needed to bring it up because you know what? I can't be the person with the bright idea. No, that belongs in the purview of somebody else, not me. So the writer goes on to say these verbal tics, and if anybody's just joining me, I'm reading from the book How Women Rise. So you can go get it. I put it in the chat. So you can go get that book. I'll probably pin it later on Instagram under the live. Somebody gave me that lovely advice. I was just so happy for it. Just trying to make the morning show better. So she says, these verbal tics are usually employed at the start of a statement where they are calculated to do the most harm. The millennial habit of routinely ending every sentence on a rising note. Well, I don't know, but what do you think? Well, maybe that's what we should do. Why? Why are you minimizing yourself? So she says that millennial habit of routinely ending every sentence on a rising note, which has the effect of making every statement sound like a question, it conveys an uncertainty that both minimizes and discounts while also seeming designed to invite contradiction. Why can't you just simply stand by what you say, be determined, be confident in it? To be confident is not to be arrogant. The two things are different. I'll give you a little story after just to kind of prove that point. So, in addition to implicitly saying, please don't mind me, minimizers and discounters convey uncertainty. They are yet another tool that you can use to undermine your power. So, a study done at Harvard Business School, Who Gets Heard and Why, that's the name of the study, it found that women are more likely than men to downplay their certainty when they speak. They hedge assertions and proactively acknowledge that others may hold different points of view. Of course, people hold different points of view. We don't need to acknowledge that. It's not surprising, she says, that many women have adopted these habits since certainty is often interpreted as arrogance, and women tend to fear getting tagged as arrogant. We have to let it go, okay? If you want to rise to the top in your job, in your business, as a CEO, as an executive, as a professional, you're going to ruffle feathers, and you literally have to be okay with that. You can't satisfy everybody. You can't please everybody, and you literally don't have to. And I always say to myself, in that push to try to be a people pleaser, what we don't realize is that the very people we are trying to please all the time, they don't, you think they're really trying to please you? And you know what? Maybe that this might be a mean thing to say. What if they did? You still don't have a responsibility to please every single person, even if everybody is trying to please you. Like, that's just not the way of the world. Okay. So there's good reason, because women are perceived as who are perceived as arrogant tend to be viewed in highly negative terms, whereas arrogance in men is often interpreted as confidence and boldness. You guys, I remember one time, this is when I was just discovering self-confidence and doing the work on myself way back in university, realizing that I needed to like increase my self-confidence and know myself better and acknowledge both the good and what was needed work upon. I needed to be able to do that for myself first. And I'll never forget, this is a little over the top, but this guy, I was at the gym, this is way back in the day, this is at university, right? And he said something of, just complimented my body. And I said, I know. I just said, I know. Thank you. I know. And the poor guy was just so turned off. Like, how would I handle that now? I think I would say I know silently, and then I would say thank you, right? But I was at just learning about this thing called self-esteem and wanting to do it right. And he's like, oh, you have a nice body or something. And I was just like, I know, thank you. And you know what? I don't even know if I actually said the word thank you. Maybe I just said I know. But it really was me like trying to get a handle on self-esteem and self-confidence, then to be able to then settle into it and have a measured way, which I think I have now of dealing with it. Here's the story that I want to end with. And I might get it wrong, but that's okay. I think you're going to get the point about being honest and being able to take up space and not minimize yourself. There's no point. And in fact, I truly believe women know their strength. I truly believe that we are aware of how good we are in certain areas and in where we are excellent. We are just we just don't want to acknowledge it, but we do know that we have those talents. We are strong where that is concerned, etc. There's a story of this quarterback who was very humble. He was the best quarterback in the state or province. Since I'm in Canada, I'm just gonna put it in my context, right? But he was very humble, very self-effacing, and so on. Anywho, there was this court case that they all had to attend, and he had to testify. And so they said to him, you have to swear on the Bible or swear on whatever, because you have to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. And he agreed. And he got on that witness box. And the first question that was asked of this very self effacing guy who was the best in his field, but He was the best in his field, but he, hi Susie, but he never acknowledged it and so on. And they said to him, are you the best quarterback in the province? And he squirmed, he looked very embarrassed. And then he said, yes, I am. And the lesson of the story, which I totally botched, but I hope you get, was that afterwards, his teammates were very surprised to have heard him acknowledge that he was the best. And they said to him, so why did you do it? We've never heard you say that before. And he said, well, I saw on the Bible, I had to speak the truth. What if you just decided to speak the truth about yourself? What if you just simply decided that me acknowledging who I was in all my strength and all my talent was not a matter of arrogance? It's not a matter of showing off. It was just a matter of the truth. This is who I am. I've just simply taken it. I'm not apologizing. Like, I'm not going to be arrogant about it. I think you just settle into, if you know you're good at something, it's okay to take up that space. And whether, like whether or not you're the best at it, I think maybe the opposite of taking up space is literally that whole apologetic thing and not being true to who you really know you are. The last thing that I want to say is that I've also realized that a lot of people do not want to acknowledge who they are in their strength because they know deep down, they believe deep down that they are better than everybody else. And that is a thought maybe I should not have gone in, and we can perhaps look at tomorrow. But here's that's what it is. Sometimes there's this, like, I don't know who we think we are fooling. Who do you think you're fooling? People can see you. So you like downplaying yourself instead of in all humility acknowledging what you can do and doing it right and blessing people with the talents and the gifts that you have. Instead of doing that, you're busy trying to hide because deep down you really do believe that you are better than everybody else. And you know why you're hiding? Because if you start to acknowledge that you are that good, the arrogance is going to emerge. I've seen it happen. And my advice to such people, because I have experienced it myself, is to sit with yourself and do that hard work of knowing where you start and stop. Why do I feel I'm better than everybody else? Maybe you need to get that talent out there to get your butt kicked so you realize you're not all of that and find your place in the world. But a lot of people don't do it because it can flip on the other side of arrogance, which you literally feel within you. We're going to continue tomorrow with another topic on the matter. But today we're looking at all of the ways that women try to minimize themselves and try to downplay the things about them that are literally good and can bless the world, but that they think would make them look over the top and arrogant, and they're not. So go out today and gently insist on being yourself. Thank you for listening, everybody. And don't forget to go get my book, okay? My book is out. Good Girl Gone Wife. I'm going to put the links in the show the show notes, because I do have a podcast as well. So go get it wherever you get podcasts. But I'll put the links on the live after, so you can go grab your copy of the book, Good Girl Gone Wife. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 6 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Go out and gently insist on being yourself.